It is quite clear that Jeffrey Epstein had a wide, almost incalculably wide circle of associates, people who were celebrities, people who were either in foreign governments or leaders of foreign governments, business tycoons, and the like.
Now, I'm a Christian, but I ain't that good a Christian.
Took my Winton from me. He turned my son against.
It's not every day a name like Marjorie Harvey ends up in the same breath as Jeffrey Epstein. But boom! Here we are right in the middle of a storm nobody saw coming. Headlines popping off, social feeds turning into battlegrounds, and Hollywood whispers turning into full-blown street talk louder than ever. The wild claim floating around that Steve Harvey, the smooth, polished TV king with a perfect smile, allegedly brought his wife Marjorie around Epstein's elite, secretive circle to level up his business connections and career moves. It sounds outrageous, like something ripped from a late-night conspiracy forum. But these new emails tied to Epstein's unsealed files got people looking sideways and asking uncomfortable questions. And all of this just happens to explode the same week folks start buzzing about a $200 million divorce rumor between Steve and Marjorie. Coincidence? Or are we staring at a puzzle that finally has all the pieces falling into place?
Reinforced the research that I did on my book that Jeffrey Epstein has always viewed himself as smarter than everybody else, and he also has collected people all along the way, particularly over the 2 decades through his trafficking. And that was always to get secrets and bits of information about individuals that he could pass to other people.
The shaky marriage whispers the timing that's a little too perfect, and the shady business conversations flowing behind all those bright cameras and clean smiles. For years, Steve and Marjorie were painted as the definition of high-class love, matching designer fits, international vacations that look like movie scenes, red carpet perfection, and non-stop inspirational talk like they were the blueprint for grown folk romance. Steve made a fortune teaching people how to pick partners, keep partners, and think like a winner.
The hate, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna tell it all. I'm telling all y'all. She said, and it was fact, she used to check dudes with big lips.
So, the world believed he had the kind of marriage most folks only dream about. But every empire got a pressure point. And when those cracks start showing, the whole castle starts shaking like it's built on loose sand. Behind all the glossy photos, rumors were floating around for a long minute. Quiet talk about Marjorie's past. Street chatter about Steve's business circles, and whispers from people who claimed they saw the real deal behind the scenes. But nobody expected this type of story.
So I just keep going through. But then I'll tell you something too. Haters motivate me. Because when they talking about me, that means...
An alleged link dragging one of Hollywood's most polished couples into Epstein's dark reputation. And let's be straight, Epstein wasn't just some wealthy man with rumors around him. He was a power broker with connections that stretched from mansions to political backrooms. A man wrapped up in one of the most disturbing trafficking networks the world has ever heard about.
Is and never was part of the Epstein files. She was sentenced in 2025. This was an interview by Trump's lawyer to protect Trump from the fallout about the Epstein files. What this really is nothing but a sketchy PR stunt by the Department of Justice. And we have seen this movie before. The Maxwell interview is to the Epstein files what the Barr letter was to the Mueller investigation.
When Epstein passed in 2019, he left behind more than chaos. He left a digital graveyard full of clue. Emails, coded threads, flight logs, secret contact lists, and little breadcrumb messages tied to some of the most powerful names on the planet. We're talking princes, presidents, Hollywood bosses, and industry titans.
That Steve Harvey was in a perfect position to help me get clean. I wouldn't have to go through what I went through, but God.
A list so long it felt like the credits of a blockbuster gone wrong. And now, with each fresh batch of unsealed files, new shadows pop up.
I understand she's not going to be speaking on none of that because her whole thing is to hide her past.
Anonymous insiders started hinting that a Harvey and specifically Marjorie appeared in vague, cryptic references. Nothing direct, nothing criminal, but the context it gives people chill.
She called me, and she just.
Some mentions referred to a high-profile spouse of a television personality connected through a network of introductions for lifestyle events. Sounds like coded language meant for people who already knew the game. And with the Harveys trending non-stop right now, you already know folks are connecting every dot like it's a puzzle dropping itself into place. People always danced around Marjorie Harvey's history, treating it like a secret file nobody wanted to open.
They've given you. Just remember that you're the prize at all times. Boom. Best advice.
She grew up in Memphis, had connections to men who were allegedly deep in street life and heavy business. She turned her life around, stepped into high society, married Steve, and reinvented herself as the face of luxury and elegance. Diamonds, couture, private jets, the whole lifestyle. But the internet has a long memory, and her past is coming back with a whole new weight now that her name is floating near Epstein whispers.
She probably wants to get out early. So I think that we have more digging to do. I think the DOJ transparency effort here is the right thing, but the reason it's on a Friday, Will, is I think there are no smoking guns. There's other places we have to look.
Well,
sources claim Marjorie had access to elite circles long before Steve ever came into the picture. Fashion parties, private dinners, invite-only lifestyle events, spaces with people who had reach, money, and influence. And it's inside those same circles where insiders are whispering about possible overlap with Epstein's crowd. Nobody's labeling her a victim, and nobody's calling her a recruiter. Nothing like that. What's being suggested is simpler, but still messy. She may have been in certain rooms, introduced to certain players, and positioned in certain conversations for reasons that had nothing to do with romance or business friendships. Now swing the spotlight to Steve, a man who built himself from the comedy grind to becoming a walking empire. Radio shows, Family Feud domination, talk shows, best-selling books, and endorsements stacked higher than skyscrapers. Steve wasn't just famous. He became a full brand, polished and powerful. But between 2012 and 2016, people noticed something different. Steve didn't just rise, he skyrocketed. Bigger deals, global visibility, private meetings with billionaires, and exclusive access to rooms most entertainers never even sniff. His career didn't just glow. It glowed like someone plugged it into a power plant overnight. So, here's the real question that has people whispering in every corner of the internet. Did Steve make some kind of trade behind the scenes? Did he lean on Marjorie's connections, her presence, or even her past reputation to slip into rooms he could never access by himself? Folks are looking at the timeline like a detective board. The theory floating around is simple but messy. Marjorie had the charm, the look, the confidence, and the social chemistry to blend effortlessly into elite spaces. And Steve, he had raw ambition and a hunger to level up. Some insiders claim circles connected to Epstein or groups with that same exclusive energy may have played a role in Steve's sudden access to higher levels of influence. And right when these Epstein whispers start bubbling up again, what blows up on the blogs? A rumor that the Harveys are heading toward a $200 million divorce. That number alone had people dropping their phones. Reports say Marjorie has been spotted meeting with top-tier divorce attorneys out in LA. The kind of lawyers who don't even pick up the phone unless you're talking serious assets. Meanwhile, sources close to Steve claim he's been acting downright nervous, restructuring properties, sliding assets into trusts, and setting up private sit-downs with crisis teams like he's bracing for impact. So everyone's asking why right now. Could be a normal marriage issue, could be unrelated stress, or it could be fallout from secrets that were never supposed to leak into daylight. If even one piece of the Epstein theory holds any truth, then this divorce rumor starts looking more like damage control than heartbreak. Because this isn't just about the Harveys. This is about how the entire Hollywood ecosystem works. Connections, power, quiet partnerships, and the silent currency nobody admits to using. We all know Epstein didn't always rely on threats. Sometimes he opened doors, offered access, introduced you to investors, celebrities, politicians. The kind of access that can shift an entire career. And once you walked into those rooms, you were tied in whether you liked it or not. Marjorie and Steve built themselves up as one of the most recognizable black power couples on the planet. But behind the bright lights, some believe they were caught up, willingly or not, in a world where access came with unspoken exchanges, silence, or strategic favors. But here's what is raising eyebrows everywhere. We've got Epstein's emails hinting at celebrity wives introduced to high-net circles through intermediaries. Marjorie's past turning out to be way more connected than folks like to admit. Steve's career blasting off with no clear explanation for the sudden jump, and the timing of their marriage allegedly cracking right after new Epstein leaks hit the public. Is all that just random, or does it look like somebody trying to cut loose before something major drops? Social media is eating this story like popcorn. TikTok investigators making charts, Twitter going wild with theories, and Instagram gossip pages acting like they found the lost scrolls of Hollywood secrets. Some people swear Marjorie is the one being thrown into the fire, a woman getting blamed to shield a man trying to protect his empire. Others flip the script and say she was the strategist, the one making power moves while Steve played the clean-cut TV icon. And then there's the crew that thinks the whole situation is just noise, a distraction while bigger Epstein files get ready to shake up even more powerful names. But let's keep the focus real for a second. Epstein's world wasn't just yachts and handshakes. People were hurt, exploited, manipulated, and pushed into silence. That's the part that never needs to be brushed aside because it shows how deep the corruption ran behind those private jets and VIP parties. So, when stories like this pop up, it might sound like wild gossip, but they raise a heavy question. How many powerful people knew what was happening and acted like they didn't? How many smiled in photos, took meetings, signed deals, and ignored bad energy because the access felt too valuable to walk away from? Even if Steve and Marjorie weren't directly tied to anything illegal, if they were in the room or even connected through someone else's introduction, people believe that still matters. We're standing in the middle of something huge right now, and the pieces are still moving. More Epstein emails are lined up to drop, and insiders are whispering that the next wave is going to shake the internet like an earthquake. Names we never expected, connections nobody imagined, and circles that overlap in ways people have been scared to talk about for years. And if even a hint of real proof ties the Harveys to those elite networks, their whole empire could go from unstoppable to unstable in a single night. One leak, one screenshot, one confirmation, and everything they built could flip upside down. That rumored $200 million divorce. People are saying that might not be a breakup. It might be a shield, a strategy, a quiet move to protect assets before the storm hits harder. So now the big questions hit like a punch. Was Steve Harvey just a man chasing success with pure hustle? Or did he step into rooms where the price of entry wasn't money, but silence and favors? Did he shake hands with people who could open doors that no amount of talent could open on its own? And what about Marjorie Harvey? Is she really just the glamorous fashion queen, the trendsetter with a polished past? Or was she connected to elite social circles long before she became a household name? Some say she navigated those circles like a pro, smooth, strategic, and always 3 steps ahead. The truth, we might never get the uncensored version. The real story usually stays locked in private emails, private meetings, and private deals no camera will ever catch. But one thing is crystal clear. This saga ain't slowing down. And every day a new twist jumps out of the shadows. Stay locked in, stay sharp, and never forget the most powerful people in the world don't make noise when they move. They let other people do the running, the talking, and the cleaning while they stay spotless on the surface. Now jump in the comments and tell me what you think. Do you believe there's something real behind these whispers? Or is this just a viral storm built on half-truths and clickbait theory?